Good morning, everybody. A little bit of an update. I just got 30 seconds ago, a minute ago, two more messages out of Batavia regarding what's going on up there. Two more horses put down. I'm just going to say it like this. The way I handle things is facts. When horsemen in droves now come to me, all individual people who know each other, but different barns, different ownerships, different trainers, all have the exact same story, are all giving me the same exact background regarding the person who may or may not be responsible. But I always say it this way. The person who draws up the vial, or draws from the vial, draws up the syringe, and injects whatever it is into the living animal is responsible for that animal's life. I don't give a shit if you're trying to blame the manufacturer, because we're getting different stories on what it may or may not be. But the latest I'm hearing is that now there's the numbers on the box, and I'm not going to go into details what numbers we're talking about, but the numbers on the boxes did not match the numbers on the bottles. I call bullshit. And let's say that that's true. It is your job as a professional, a licensed fucking professional, to make sure that everything matches. That's your job. Okay? You've taken an oath. You're supposed to be a professional. When you use a substance that you purchase for whatever use, and you take that substance and inject it into one of these animals, you and only you are responsible, not the manufacturer. It is your job to ensure the safety, the health, the welfare of these, in this case, standard breds. That it makes me sick. It never stops. If you're not killing these horses and making them go away because you're done with them because they're no longer profitable, while they're racing, no, trainers got to do what they got to do. But could we at least have a little semblance of, security that the professionals that these people go to? Because like I say, it's better than like guys like a Ross Cohen, who is running around doing vet work for some top trainers and drivers, by the way, one of which I watched personally as he almost bled out a horse through there trying to inject a coffin joint. I'm not going to go there anymore. But that's okay. But I say, are you out of your mind? At least, well, it's cheaper than the vet, saves money. But when you do go to a professional, you would hope that at least you could have the confidence and, knowing that the right thing is being done, that they know what they're doing, the product they use is safe, the product they use is what it says it is, that it's within the expiration date, that when they prep the horse, they've scrubbed properly, that the area is clean. When you get this amount of infections, and then to have a fucking arrogant prick attitude about it to these people whose animals are dying now, just let's say for what it is, they're dying. And if they're not dying, it's like Fred Bourgault didn't actually kill Finish Line, but they had to put him down because of what he did to Finish Line. These horses maybe are not dying directly from what this was done to these horses and what was injected into them, but there was no other course, and they had to be humanely destroyed because they are beyond repair because of your actions and or lack of actions. Due diligence. It's your job. Now, 3 days ago, I didn't even know who these people were, and now they're dead center of my radar. So now we start looking. We're going to start calling the state. We're going to talk to the veterinary board. I'm hearing that people are filing lawsuits, and that's part of the game. But I keep finding out from people that there's an attitude coming from the individual. That's where the problem starts. If you think you're better than other people, looking down on people, lessening the gravity of this. People are losing their racehorses, losing their income, losing their pets in some, I know it's hard for some of these pricks to believe, but a lot of people really care about the horses and love their animals, whether they're racing them or not. I happen to have been one of them. Look what happens. It turns out that the people with the money and the authority in this industry don't give a shit about anyone. Oh my God, there's a shock. And one common denominator here is everyone who has contacted me is scared shitless and begging me to keep them anonymous. How fucked up is that? Let's think about that. The people that have been wronged and are losing their animals are afraid to speak up for fear of repercussion. And they have every reason to be, because we know how this state works. We know how the industry works, that if you step out of line and you question one of the power players, you're going to be the one to get booted. We've got a case going on up in Tioga County. Is it Tioga County? Or around Tioga Downs? Meanwhile, there's an individual who's been out my window still operating on a 10-year suspension. I don't give two shits what anybody says. That's a whole other story. You've heard it directly from the judges at Monticello Raceway, both the presiding judge and the associate judge, that they aren't exactly aware, but, because we don't want to punish the horses, and yes, Monticello needs horses to fill their cards. Oh, yeah, you're just basically willing to overlook the fact that the guy that got the 10-year suspension still is, let's say, what will we call it? Maybe not trainer of record, overseeing these animals and are still in his barn. What does that say? Are we that stupid? And to have the gentleman who is now trainer of record actually step over the line and come over here and visit me where I live, big mistake, wasn't it? Now, allegedly, those horses have to be stabled at Monticello Raceway by Friday before they can race. However, they're still racing there anyway. I had the presiding judge hang up on me, and Eric Warner said he's too busy to talk about it. Yeah, bullshit, Eric. It's incredible that you're still having problems filling your cards when the whole East Coast is closed. You can't even draw enough horses from Vernon, Tioga, anywhere to fill your racing eight races a day, 4 days a week. Because everybody went to the Meadowlands. It's unbelievable. And there are other people, again, who are, depending on their infractions, far less guilty of whatever it is that they were found guilty of, and are punished 10 times more harsh and scrutinized than the actual criminals. Bottom line is, a guy used 17 times the allowable amount of cobalt on a horse, was found guilty of it. The horse tested. Both the first sample and split sample came back relatively the same. You're guilty. You're not innocent. Prove your innocence. His owner came over here crying to me that it's impossible. I said, well, it happened. Who did it? Come back and prove otherwise. You had your due process. You had your hearing. You had your right to a hearing. You appealed. You had your right to a hearing. You lost. Now, I see this gentleman over here parking down by the maintenance shed like I'm not going to see him. And let me tell you another secret about this. Everyone is watching you at Historic Track. How do you think I find this stuff out? I'm not over there. Why are people calling and telling me when you're in the barn and what you're doing, picking up green buckets? The same harness bags. I mean, you're the problem. Only thing is, you've had a lenient regulatory commission, meaning New York State Gaming, who is willing to look the other way. But now we've got audio from licensed individuals who oversee and govern harness racing and thoroughbred racing in the state of New York on record, that was sent to Albany and made it right to the director's desk. You made it. You deal with it. Peace out. Oh, you like that? I thought it was pretty cool, right? Amazon, they have everything. I think that thing was $10. It just goes with, the theme of what we're trying to do here. But you know how many people there are in harness racing that feel as though that right there is a threat, that there are people with compassion and empathy that actually love these animals? Because they're a threat to the bottom line. This. Peace.